Representative Rita Mayfield. Rita Mayfield is a champion in the fight against recidivism, and she's a champion in education. Rita, in my previous role with the Illinois Department of Corrections, one thing that I really liked about you is your community activism, advocacy. You do a lot to help different people, and it starts with the people who are released from prison, parolees, probationers. You do a tremendous amount for the kids in the community. You run social programs. As a state representative who has to spend time in Springfield, how do you come up with the time to do all of the things that are in your heart? Because you have a very big heart.
It's not easy, I'll be honest, but when you have a passion for helping people, you find the time, you just make things work. You surround yourself with positive people who have similar vision as what you do. You know, I have a wonderful group of volunteers that really want to make a difference. And that's very hard to find, people that really want to get out here without a paycheck and do something to make a difference in the community. So it all works out. We work together.
Yeah. One of the things that I noticed about you and I really liked, when I ran the Summer of Hope program for the Illinois Department of Corrections, that was the #1 reentry program in the nation for parolees and probationers. Representative, I put a lot more of the events in your district. And one of the reasons that I did it, it wasn't because I was isolating anyone. It was just because you were able to mobilize people. We needed a lot of volunteers to have the event, and not just volunteers, vendors. And, you know, we need to get the parolees there too. Because of your involvement in the program, the event was very, very successful. How did you mobilize all of those people? Like, how did you have their trust? Because people won't come if they don't trust you or respect you. But you broke. Working with you, I was actually able to break some of the reentry records in the state.
A lot of it just, you know, from what you stated earlier, I'm out there, I'm in the community, people know me, they know that I care, and that Summit of Hope was probably one of the most helpful programs that we put on. And I have to really thank you for everything that you did to help me to bring that here to Lake County. We drew from all over Lake County, all demographics. We covered every social economic background. We had a former lawyer that was, you know, benefited from being there. We had individuals that were just coming out of the system and they were looking to re-enter, reconnect. There were so many services that were available. We had individuals there that actually had jobs, not just fill out an application and we'll hold it on file, but fill out this application and you can start next week. So when you have those type of partnerships, you know, you really make a difference in the community. The substance abuse counselors that were there and says, you know, you can come. We realize you don't have the funds to pay for these programs, but if you come to this program, we will help you to get the help you need. You want to reconnect with your family? We're going to help you to do that. Child support. Let's get you on a payment plan so that you can start providing for your children. You don't have a bank account? Guess what? We have places that will give you a bank account. Housing. We had just so many different things. And then the other component of it was the health aspect. You know, because one of the things that we saw is that a lot of people that are re-entering our community, you know, they haven't really taken good care of themselves.
Right.
You know, so having, you know, the mobile van there to give them, you know, just, you know, to check their blood pressure. Are you diabetic? You know, HIV testing was huge.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, we had so many individuals that just signed up just because they weren't sure. They wanted to know. And then we provided them with information on how to stay safe, on PrEP, you know, which was very new at the time. So we've been doing a lot of things here, you know, through that Summit of Hope, that we would not have had that opportunity had we not been able to partner. So it's all about partnerships.
Right, definitely. When it comes down to the Black Caucus, I think you've all done a tremendous job. And not just the Black Caucus, let's just say the House and the Senate combined. You all passed a record number of bills this year. But the thing is, I think the difference with this year, a lot of the bills are very proactive and they're designed to help just the regular people on all levels. What bill this year would you say you were most proud of? Because you got a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of bills. I would say the bill that I was probably the most proud of was the one that we did not get passed.
Which one?
And that is the ombudsman bill that I've been working on with Todd Belcourt for the last couple of years. And what that bill does is it looks at our judicial system. We have the PREA hotline, and we found that a lot of the individuals that are calling that hotline are not getting the help that they need. So we wanted to
PREA hotline.
PREA.
Tell them what that is.
That is, the PREA hotline is for inmates that are incarcerated who have been abused, assaulted, or have something traumatic that has happened to them. There are phones in every facility. You pick up the phone, there's somebody on the other end, and you can say, I was assaulted, I was raped, this happened to me, that happened to me. And that person on the other line is supposed to investigate what actually happened. But what we found is that the number in the last 3 years has doubled the number of phone calls. So the number of assaults are steady going up. And how can you tell me that every last one of them are unfounded? That's saying that there's something wrong with the system when every time somebody picks up the phone to say this happened to me, and you're saying, well, we investigated it, it's unfounded, but yet you were in the infirmary. How is it unfounded if you were in the infirmary?
Exactly.
So the Independent Ombudsman Office, and we're very close, we're going to work with Lieutenant Governor Stratton on this over the summer to really iron out all the details on some of the opposition as well that we had within the department. But we feel this would be a very good thing to do. We want to model it after what they're doing in the juvenile justice system. They have a great ombudsman. It's a neutral third party that actually goes in and looks at and takes a really good look at what is happening. How can we make systematic changes so that these things do not continue to happen, and address the problems that are going on. So that is the bill that I'm most proud of. It is the one that I know we're going to get done.
Oh, great. So do you think you'll get the bill passed when you all come back?
We're looking to refile the bill in January with agreed upon language. We know there's a new director at DLC. I'm looking forward to working with him.
Yeah.
So, and from what I've heard that he's done at other facilities, I really believe he'll be on board with what it is that we're proposing. This is about moving Illinois forward. Mm-hmm. It's time.
Yeah, that's one thing that I always liked about you. There's been a big focus nationally on re-entry for returning citizens, parolees to come back to the community. But before anybody really jumped behind the push, before it was popular, or before it was a trend, you were on criminal justice reform from the very, very beginning. But one of the problems is, what can we do to keep people from going to correctional facilities in the first place when we're dealing with socially, economically disenfranchised neighborhoods? Is it the family? Is it the schools? What's one of the
It takes a village. It truly takes a village. And it takes organizations that really care. There's one organization here in my district, Legacy Reentry Foundation, and their original mission was just to work with individuals that were coming out. But one of the things that they noticed is that a lot of the individuals, when they had these conversations with them, they started young. Mm-hmm. So then they started evolving. They're like, okay, well, how can we reach out to these young kids before they get into the system? What programs can we put in place? How can we engage them? How can we get them tutoring? Math and reading are the biggest, hurdles to our children. Mm-hmm. So how do we put those things in place? How do we get them counseling for anger management? How do you deal with, situations that are beyond your control? A lot of role playing. They have a program called Teen Success.
Wow.
And it is an awesome program. And they're really making a difference in our youth. They're taking these youth, that the system, these are the kids that constantly get suspended, that are just falling through the cracks because they're not there academically. We have to re-engage those students, get them back interested in schools, get them interested in like a youth build or other trade type programs, something, so everybody isn't going to go to college.
Right.
But some of our kids they're brilliant. They just don't know how to apply what they, the different learning. They have to learn differently. So some of them learn better hands-on. So we find them things and we match them up. It's all through partnerships. They are absolutely awesome. And when I say they are making a difference in our teens, keeping them out of the juvenile justice system so that they're not then having this record that then propels them into the adult correctional system.
Right.
We're trying to stop it at the root.
Right. Wow. This is very heavy and it's very serious. Something definitely needs to change. And again, not just statewide, but on the national level, there's a deficit. It just seems like the system is broken for some people, and we got to take a proactive stance to collectively change that. Well, I'm really happy watching your leadership, and it looks like a lot of people are gonna, follow suit. I think one thing that and I had just heard this, I don't know all the details, but Rep Cassidy pointed it out, and that's why I appreciate you being so proactive about education, because I noticed that one of the correctional facilities, they've been taking books out of certain facilities, which and I don't understand that, because in maybe 2013, I took a poll, and 38% of the inmates read 6th grade level or lower. How drastic or how devastating is it to take education away from people who are incarcerated?
Well, when as you know, I do have a strong background in education. I used to be on the school board. I'm the K through 12 appropriation. I served as chair for another education committee. Education is key. And if you want to keep somebody in the system, if you want to keep perpetuating the lack of recidivism, keeping them coming back, that circle of reincarceration, you take away their learning abilities.
Yes.
You take away the books. You take away all access to education. I get letters here all the time, and I respond to those letters from individuals that says, I tried to sign up for this class to better myself, and I was denied. I get on the phone. Why are we denying individuals who are on the verge of being let out? I'm not talking about the person that has 20 years in front of them. I'm talking about somebody that's getting out in the next 2 or 3 years.
Right.
Our job is to rehabilitate them. Our job is to make sure that they have the tools when they get out to be successful. When you're taking away their ability to do that, you're basically saying, we need this job.
Right.
You need to come back in here so that I can keep my job. They're not interested in what's best for that individual. They're looking at what's best for themselves. And that's a problem that we have with our criminal justice system, because it is not focused on rehabilitation. It is focused more on reentry, bringing those people back into the facility. And that's a problem. And like I say, we cannot afford to take one book out. If you take one book out, you need to be bringing 2 back.
Oh, wow. Yeah, exactly.
Are we updating the books? Why are we denying individuals that opportunity to learn? And as you pointed out, many of you said 6th grade level, but I think the national standards, most individuals that are incarcerated are reading probably about the 7th, 8th grade level. And their math skills are a lot less. So we really need to focus on that. Why are we not giving them the tools to be successful, the life skills? We have one facility in the state, and that's out in Kiwani. They have a work camp out there, but that's just one.
Right.
One out of how many? I mean, this is ridiculous when you have a whole system and there's only one facility that individuals can go to actually get the skills that they need.
That's very true. Well, everyone, this was a wrap. I'm sitting down with State Representative Rita Mayfield. In my opinion, this is one of the greatest elected officials in the country. We have tremendous leadership here in Illinois, and I'm just happy to be able to be a part of this. Thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome.